Here we are. Here we go. Up again. Notice I've been doing my best lately not to say okay at the start of videos. That's on purpose. People don't think I read comments. I read comments. All right. Tomorrow we've got 11 games. And because Tuesday is a busier day for me, it is easier for me to post this on a Monday night, post it middle of the night. I'm apologizing to people on the East Coast and the West Coast, actually. But it's Christmas break for most of you wonderful teenage kids that use the Tubi services with there's the interconnecting internet tubes that go from the different, I think the music tubes are off to the side. Anyways, I'm not sure how the sports tubes work in connectivity with the other internet. There's internet tubes.
No.
There's a series of tubes on the internet.
Shannon.
Didn't you see the Republicans there years back talk about the internet? It's a series of tubes. I was like, yep.
Remember that.
Yep, the internet's a series of tubes, and that's how I see it. I'm in the sports tube. All right.
Oh.
Let's get her started with the sports tube.
Oh, Shannon.
Tampa, 25-7-2. They're in against Vancouver, who are 16-6-4. And despite what you may hear, Vancouver's a pretty solid team, and I'm going to tell you why. Young scoring, some pretty good young guns on this team. The defense there's some mediocrity with the defense. I'm going to be completely honest. But on any given night, they're capable of playing well as a group. And the goaltending, is it a little bit below average? Probably, but Markstrom's been pretty good lately. So Vancouver has been looking pretty good. And here is a perfect test. Coming off the win against Edmonton, Tampa's coming in. And Tampa's going to be probably pretty feisty after that loss against Winnipeg. One of the best games I've seen all year. Leading the way in scoring for Tampa Bay, of course, is Kucherov with 14 goals, 24 assists. Braden Point, 21 goals, 22 assists, 43 points. Stamkos, 16 goals, 19 assists. Miller, 6 goals, 19 assists. Johnson, 14 goals and 10 assists. Gourde, 10 goals, 14 assists. McDonough, 3 goals, 18 assists. Killorn, 8 goals, 11 assists. Hedman's on the board, 4 goals, 14 assists. And Anthony Cirelli, 9 goals, 4 assists, rounds up the top 10. On the Vancouver side, Pettersson, 17 goals, 18 assists. Horvat, 16 goals, 16 assists. Brock Besser is back, 12 goals, 11 assists. That's in 23 games. Goldobin, 5 goals, 16 assists. Virtanen, 10 goals, 5 assists. Eriksson, 6 goals, 9 assists. Hutton, 4 goals, 10 assists. Roussel, 3 goals, 11 assists. Granlund, 6 goals, 7 assists. And Alex Edler, 3 goals, 9 assists for him. Goaltending, it's middle of the night, so I'm not going to bother checking on who the goaltenders are supposed to be. I would imagine Vasilevsky here just because he had so much time off and he's going to be given a chance to bounce back from the game against Winnipeg. Not that it was his fault. 10-3-2, 2.38 goals against, 928 save percentage. Louis Domingue, 14-4 with a 2.95 goals against, 905 save percentage. On the Vancouver side, I expect Markstrom here because this is a big game and Markstrom's been pretty good in big games lately. He's now 13-9-3 with a 3.01 goals against, 904 save percentage. Nilsson's 3-6-1 with a 2.91 goals against, 901 save percentage. Of course, he hasn't won since those first 3 decisions he had this year. The Tampa Bay Lightning are 8-1-1 in their last 10. They lost their last game, of course. Vancouver's 5-3-2. They won their last 2, but they've won 5 out of 6. On the road, Tampa's an impressive 10-3-2 at home. Vancouver's 8-7-1, but their record's been getting better at home. Versus the West, Tampa's a surprisingly mediocre 6-5-2 compared to their amazing record against their own conference. Against the East, Vancouver's 7-6-2. Considering they're 500 overall at 16-16, that 7-6 means they're a little bit better statistically against the East than against the West when you look at the win-loss records, but it's kind of a saw-off. This should be a really great high-scoring game. I don't expect a Vancouver win here at all, not in the slightest, but I will say I expect a fun game. And seeing the Canucks up against a team that could very well be a Stanley Cup champion this year, that could be a lot of fun to watch. So next up, Calgary. The Flames 22-10-2 in against Dallas 16-4-3. And the Calgary Flames are led by Johnny Gaudreau with 15 goals and 30 assists. Tkachuk 15 goals, 25 assists. Monahan 20 goals, 19 assists. Lindholm, 17 goals, 20 assists. Giordano, 6 goals, 29 assists. Backlund, 5 goals, 12 assists. Hanifin, 3 goals, 12 assists. Brody, 3 goals, 11 assists. Jankowski, 4 goals, 8 assists. And Derek Ryan is now in the top 10 with 4 goals and 7 assists. On the Dallas side, Tyler Seguin, 10 goals, 20 assists. Jamie Benn, 13 goals, 13 assists. Lucky 13 for Jamie, I guess. Radulov, 10 goals, 15 assists. Spezza, 5 goals, 13 assists. Heiskanen, 7 goals, 10 assists. Shore, 5 goals, 11 assists. Lindell, 6 goals, 9 assists. Klingberg, who may be back in a week's time, 5 goals, 8 assists. He's supposed to start skating with the team this week, and we may see him soon. Dickinson, 5 goals, 6 assists. Foxa, 5 goals, 5 assists. On the Calgary side, I kind of expect Riddick in this one because he's 11-3-1, 2.21 goals against, 925 save percentage. Gillies has been sent down to the minors, meaning that Smith could very well be the starter here. He's 11-7-1, 2.99 goals against, 888 save percentage. So are they going to try to get Smith going, or are they just going to say Riddick's our starter? That's the question I have to ask. On the Dallas side, I expect Bishop, but I wouldn't be surprised either way. I would think, though, based on where Calgary's in the standings, they'll want to have their best chance, and that would involve Bishop. Bishop's 10-8-1, 2.46 goals against, 920 save percentage. Hudobin, 6-6-2 with a 2.89 goals against, 910 save percentage. Last 10, Calgary's 8-1-1. They've won 3 in a row. In their last 10, Dallas is 4-5-1. They've lost 4 in a row. On the road, Calgary's 11-7, and at home, Dallas is 10-5-2. They are much better at home than they are on the road, which makes their road record more frustrating. And I don't know how else to explain it. Versus the West, Calgary an impressive 16-7-2. Dallas 10-6-2. So the numbers for me, I like the odds of Calgary coming out of this one with a win. They're on a nice winning streak, but Dallas is at home. They've lost 4 in a row. I don't see that going to 5. I would narrowly give a win to Dallas in this one. So Tampa and Dallas so far would be my picks if I was the picking type, but I do my best not to be, because my record when it comes to gambling is not good. Overall, Dallas needs to reverse the trend they've been on, and the problem is if they can't, then we're looking at a team that likely misses the playoffs. And for the Flames, they do need to be looking over their shoulder because the Anaheim Ducks are right there. They are playing some fantastic hockey right now. So yeah, we'll see where that ends up, won't we? Next up, Toronto, 21-10-2. So they've got almost the same record as Calgary. The New Jersey Devils are 11-13-7. And I have to say, just at the start, Toronto this year, the amount of Stanley Cup excitement with Toronto is palpable, and I get it. But I do wonder if they're putting the cart before the horse with it. In that, I don't have a doubt that they're a contender, but I do have some concerns about them being able to go through 4 rounds and win a Stanley Cup with their roster as it's currently put together. And I'm not sure that they're trending in a direction that they will be able to sustain those 4 rounds. That being said, they have an excellent record, and I understand why Leaf fans are excited, and I don't want to dull that at all. The whole Cup talk and some of the Dynasty comments too, and it's not all. I know it's not all, but I see that and all I think is, Dynasties are very, very rare, and just aim for the one. Just aim for the one championship and then go from there. As a Dallas fan, I can say that, and as a Canuck fan who's never seen one for the Canucks, yeah, and Boston in 2011, I've seen one for 2 of my teams in Vancouver. Anyways, dreaming. On the Toronto side of things, Marner's 8 goals, 35 assists leads the way. Riley 10 goals, 25 assists. Tavares 20 goals, 14 assists. Matthews 16 goals and 11 assists. Kapanen 12 goals, 10 assists. Gardner, 2 goals, 18 assists, and there's already talk about how he may not be in the long-term plans of the Leafs. We'll see what they end up doing with him if they're not going to re-sign him. Marleau, 8 goals, 10 assists. Kadri, 8 goals, 10 assists. Hyman, 7 goals, 8 assists. And Johnson, 7 goals, 6 assists. And it's not that they don't want to keep Jake Gardner. It's that to make the salary cap numbers work, they may not be able to afford Jake Gardner and make improvements elsewhere and keep everybody. So that's where they're at. On the New Jersey side, Taylor Hall, 8 goals, 23 assists. Palmieri, 17 goals, 11 assists. Heischer, 7 goals, 13 assists. Zajac, 10 goals, 9 assists. Severson, 4 goals, 14 assists. Blake Coleman's on the board at 9 goals, 8 assists. Johansson, 6 goals, 9 assists. Bratt, 2 goals, 11 assists. Vatanen, 1 goal, 11 assists. And Brian Boyles, 9 goals and 2 assists. Puts him on there as well. It's nice to see Boyle getting that many goals, but the fact that he's that close to the team lead in goals kind of shows that they probably could use another goal scorer or 2. Although, probably the biggest concern is the goaltending side of things. And with Schneider out, what if Blackwood plays well? There's an important question, too. On the Toronto side of things, I would expect Anderson in this. He's 17-9-1, 2.55 goals against, 923 save percentage. That would make Sparks the backup at 4-1-1, 2.84 goals against, 913 save percentage. On the New Jersey side, Kincaid will probably play a lot. He's 11-8-6, 2.88 goals against, 906 save percentage. He's backed up by Blackwood. Last 10 games, Toronto is 6-2-2. They lost 2 in a row. New Jersey is 2-4-4, and they lost their last game. On the road, Toronto is 12-5-1 at home. The New Jersey Devils are 8-2-4. Those 4 overtime/shootout losses make the record look better than it really is. Versus the East, Toronto is 10-7-2 versus the East. New Jersey is a concerning 6-10-3. I do like Toronto's chances in this game. Because I think they are the better team. I think there's enough uncertainty with New Jersey right now, and they've been going through a really rough patch. Combined now with Schneider being on the shelf with another injury, I think there's enough distractions that the Leafs could be in for a very good game. Next up, St. Louis, the disaster that is the St. Louis Blues, 12-15-4. They're in against the Edmonton Oilers, 18-13-3, who should be a little bit ornery after that loss to the Canucks. And who could blame them? I don't blame them for being a little ornery after that loss to the Canucks. Great game, though. Seriously, I'm looking forward to the rest of this season series. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, up and down hockey. And, yeah. Anyways, on the St. Louis side of things, O'Reilly, 13 goals, 18 assists. Tarasenko, 9 goals, 11 assists. Last I checked, he's still a Blue, and I think he's going to be a Blue for the rest of the year. I can't see him moving. Perron, 10 goals, 8 assists. Shen, 7 goals, 11 assists. Dunn, 3 goals, 11 assists. Bozak, 4 goals, 9 assists. Steen, 6 goals, 6 assists. Schwartz, 2 goals, 10 assists. Pietrangelo, 4 goals, 7 assists. And Colton Parayko, 7 goals, 3 assists to round out the top 10. On the Oilers side of things, McDavid, 19 goals and 30 assists. He is still in the running for that scoring title. And with the amount of ice time he's getting from Ken Hitchcock, he's in the running for the most ice time among forwards in the NHL, and I think he's going to get there. And that could help him win the scoring title. Draisaitl, 16 goals, 26 assists for him. Nugent Hopkins, 11 goals, 20 assists. Chason, 15 goals, 4 assists. Nurse, 5 goals, 10 assists. Clefbaum, 3 goals, 12 assists. Kara, 2 goals, 11 assists, or 2 goals, 10 assists. Larson, 1 goal, 10 assists. Kajula, 7 goals, 3 assists. Russell, 1 goal, 7 assists for him. Goaltenders, I expect Allen, although might you give Bennington a shot? Why not? Bennington doesn't have a record. He's at 3.18 in his goals against and 833 for save percentage. Allen is now 10-9-4, 3.23 goals against, average and 897 save percentage. On the Oilers side, I would probably throw Talbot out there at St. Louis. 7-9-2, 3.22 goals against, 894 save percentage. Koskinen's 11-4-1 with a 2.18 goals against, 928 save percentage. But by saying I would put Talbot in, I think it'll be Koskinen because, again, Hitchcock will play the hot hand. I don't think he cares as much about who he's playing against. Over their last 10, St. Louis is 4-5-1. They lost their last game, of course. Oilers are 7-2-1, and they lost their last game. Now, on the road, St. Louis is 4-6-2, and at home, the Oilers are 10-4-1. Versus the West, St. Louis is 9-12-4. The Oilers are 12-8-2 versus the West. So, it's been a rough season for Blues fans. I don't anticipate this game making them feel a whole lot better about things. I don't know what you do. Looking and saying, well, they need to make wholesale changes, fine, but the reason I'm saying I don't think Tarasenko's going to move is what do you get back for him? Who's going to pay that price? Who's going to want to take on that price tag? There's a lot of concerns there that you don't want to sell him for too little, but you don't want to charge so much that nobody's going to take him. So there's going to be some interesting decisions there for Doug Armstrong. Let's move on. Next up, San Jose and the Minnesota Wild. So the San Jose Sharks, 18-11-5. They're in against the 17-13-2 Minnesota Wild. The San Jose Sharks, led by Logan Couture with 11 goals, 23 assists. Brent Burns, 4 goals, 30 assists. Meyer, 18 goals, 15 assists. Pavelski, 20 goals, 7 assists. Hertl, 10 goals, 15 assists. LeBanc, 4 goals, 18 assists. Carlson, 2 goals, 20 assists. Kane, 10 goals, 10 assists. Thornton, 5 goals, 9 assists. And Jonas Donskoy, 5 goals, 9 assists to finish up the top 10 for San Jose. On the Minnesota side of things, Granlund, 11 goals, 22 assists. Parise, 15 goals, 14 assists. Suter, 4 goals, 22 assists. Dumba, 12 goals, 10 assists. Stahl, 12 goals, 10 assists. Koivu, 4 goals, 17 assists. Zucker, 9 goals, 10 assists for him. Spurgeon, 4 goals, 15 assists. Niederreiter, 7 goals, 11 assists. And Coyle, 5 goals, 10 assists. And of course, as I announced this morning in the news, Koivu is slated to play in this game in return for the Minnesota Wild. Goaltenders, you've got to give Jones a chance to get it back. So Dell should be the backup, 5-4-2, 2.68 goals against, 906 save percentage. Jones, 13-7-3 with a 2.93 goals against and an 897 save percentage. I expect Dubnyk for Minnesota. Stalock's 5-3 with a 2.65 goals against, 904 save percentage. Dubnyk 12-10-2 with a 2.63 goals against, 912 save percentage. Over their last 10, San Jose 6-3-1. They've won 4 in a row. Minnesota's 4-6-0, and they lost their last game. On the road, San Jose is a woeful 7-8-3. They've got to improve that road record. The home record for Minnesota is 10-5-2. Much like other teams that I've mentioned, many times over, if your road record is well below winning half of your games on the road, you will struggle to have home ice in a playoff position or potentially even make the playoffs. Versus the West, though, San Jose's fantastic, 11-5-1. Minnesota, no slouches either at 13-9-1. So I anticipate a pretty close game. We've seen some guys getting hot from Minnesota. Can Spurgeon keep it up? Can Koivu come back and contribute right away? And what is it with Eric Stahl do? Do you look at Eric Stahl right now, you look at his production and say, you know what? We're probably not a cup contender this year, and we're going to look at renting him out at the deadline, or do you look at extending him? Going to be interesting to see what Minnesota does with him. And on the San Jose side of things seem to be coming together. The last game, the start of that against Chicago notwithstanding, they did come back. They did get the win, and I know Chicago fans are still mad about how that took place. But San Jose has some players that it is easy to dislike if you're playing against them. That being said, there's a lot of talent there as well. So, yeah, we will find out tomorrow. And if I had to wager, I would say Edmonton here, if I didn't already tip my hat there. Honestly, I kind of like Minnesota in this one. And I don't have a 100% solid reason for that. Winnipeg, 22-9-2. They're in against the 11-20-3 LA Kings. I'm not putting a Akbar sticker on this. I had an Akbar magnet on the last Chicago game, and we saw what happened with Corey Crawford. Not putting up an Akbar magnet. Not happening. I am nothing if not superstitious. So this does look to me like a game that Winnipeg has to be very careful with. Coming off that emotional win at home against Tampa. Now they're on the road. They're against a team that would be very easy to play down to. It would be very easy to come out kind of flat against the LA Kings. But leading the way in scoring for the Winnipeg Jets, Scheifele, 21 goals, 25 assists, 46 points for this guy. Wheeler, 5 goals, 39 assists. Laine, 23 goals, 7 assists. Connor, 13 goals, 15 assists. Bufflin, 3 goals, 23 assists. Ehlers, 12 goals, 12 assists. Morrissey, 4 goals, 16 assists. Little, 6 goals, 13 assists. Trouba, 3 goals, 12 assists. And Matthew Perreault, 7 goals, 7 assists. Handsome man, lots of points lately. Good job with the hair. On the LA side of things, Kopitar, 8 goals, 13 assists. Doughty, 2 goals, 16 assists. Brown, 9 goals, 8 assists. Iafallo, 6 goals, 10 assists. He's been climbing the charts again lately, and I don't think it's that he's been hot as much as just they need more scoring. Carter, 6 goals, 9 assists. Kovalchuk, 5 goals, 9 assists. Toffoli, 5 goals, 8 assists. Muzzin, 3 goals, 10 assists. Kempe, 5 goals, 6 assists, and Martinez on the board with 3 goals, 8 assists to round out the top 10 for the LA Kings. Goaltenders, I expect Brisebois because it's the Kings. I could see Brisebois, but that being said, you might as well throw in Hellebuck and try to get him on a run. Hellebuck's 15-8-1 with a 2.89 goals against, 908 save percentage. Brisebois 7-1-1, 2.35 goals against, 930 save percentage. LA side, I expect Quick. Quick's 2-8-2. 3.34 goals against, 892 save percentage. Peterson, 4-4-1, 2.57 goals against, 927 save percentage. Campbell should be getting cleared any time now. He's 5-7, 2.33 goals against, 923 save percentage. That's why I keep putting him up here. If you'll notice, though, I've started trying to make sure that if a goaltender's, there's no chance he's going to play, I'm not announcing his stats anymore. I think we've reached the point in the season where we don't really have to do that. Over the last 10, Winnipeg's 9-1. They've won their last 5 in a row. A solid run for them. On the road, they're 9-5. Their road record was a problem a month ago. It's not a problem now. Versus the West, they're 12-5-1. The Kings, meanwhile, are 2-6-2. They've lost 4 in a row. At home, they're 7-11-1, and versus the West, they're 6-11-1. So, depending on the power rankings you read, either Chicago's 31 or LA's 31, but they're right next to each other, no matter which one's at which ranking. Pride at some point has to kick in. But this is kind of what I said with St. Louis, too. I keep waiting for the pride to kick in and them to get better. And for some teams, it just doesn't seem like that's been happening. So I'm really heavily leaning towards Winnipeg, but the Akbar magnet tells me this could very well be one of those trap games. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and pause and change boards. Okay, next up, let me just go ahead and adjust here because I've got a number cut off. I don't like having a number cut off. Board's a little bit, let me just... It's so hard because I get really obsessed with it. That's okay. We'll just let that go. Islanders coming off of a big win tonight. Now they go into Arizona tomorrow. The good news for them is Arizona's not very good at home. Arizona's coming off of a road trip that didn't make them very happy. They lost their momentum on said road trip. And again, with the poor home record and the fact that Arizona's back to being a team that can't score, tomorrow night could be an excellent night for the Islanders. The Islanders are 16-12-4. Arizona's 14-16-2. Barzal leads the Islanders in scoring with 4 goals, 23 assists. Bailey, 7 goals, 19 assists. Lee, 12 goals, 13 assists. Nelson, 10 goals, 11 assists. Filppula, 8 goals, 9 assists. Everly, 7 goals, 8 assists. Mayfield, 3 goals, 10 assists. Cizikas, 8 goals, 4 assists. Beauvillier, 10 goals, 2 assists. And Ryan Pulock, 2 goals, 10 assists for him. On the Arizona side of things, Keller, 8 goals, 15 assists. Schmaltz, 6 goals, 14 assists. Ekman Larson also has 14 assists. He has 3 goals, though, for 17 points. Stepan, 7 goals, 8 assists. Richardson stuck at 8 goals and 4 assists for a while now. Hinostroza, 4 goals, 8 assists. He's had injuries. Goligoski, 2 goals, 10 assists. Grabner, 6 goals, 5 assists. Galchenyuk, 3 goals, 8 assists. And despite a fast start with Arizona, Galchenyuk's gone into another slump. So, at this point, that trade greatly favors Montreal. Panik, 6 goals and 4 assists. And much like Carolina, Arizona's watching as guys that they trade off score better elsewhere. Just the way it works. Greiss played tonight, so I expect Leonard in this one. Leonard's 4-6-3, 2.66 goals against, 912 save percentage. Greiss 12-6-1 now with a 2.5 goals against, 919 save percentage. Greiss is definitely the starter. Leonard just plays more than most backups. On the Arizona side, I kind of expect Hill here just because his record's decent. He's 5-3 with a 1.97 goals against, 926 save percentage. Kemper is 4-7-2 with a 2.85 goals against, 909 save percentage. Over their last 10, the Islanders are 4-4-2, but they've won 2 in a row. And for Arizona, they're 5-5-0, and they lost their last game. On the road, the Islanders are 8-7-1 at home. Arizona's 6-8-1. Versus the West, the Islanders are now 4-7 versus the East. Arizona's now 6-9-1. So, looking at all the numbers, it would be easy for me to pick the Islanders. That being said, Arizona's just been so cold offensively. I could see them kind of having a bit of a breakout game tomorrow. And I say that as somebody who's been watching Arizona for the last couple of years and hoping for at some point just some kind of a consistent result. Over a 20-game period, they have a really good record. Like last year, towards the end of the year, they were pretty good, but they had such an abysmal record the first 50 games of the year, it didn't matter. I'm waiting for them to, at a point where it could matter, to actually make those games matter. So it's likely wishful thinking. I'm leaning towards the Islanders on that one because I can't be blinded other than by this light here. Next up, Florida. 12-13-6 in against the Buffalo Sabres, who are 29-5. And Buffalo has managed to keep their record in line with some of the better teams in the league. They're still up there, even though over their last 10 they've seen mediocre. And we've all seen that they look kind of vulnerable. But you know what? They're still getting points. They got that win over Boston. And now they're at home against Florida. Florida's 12-13-6. They're 29-5. I really honestly think this is a game Buffalo wins because it's really hard for me to have any faith in Florida at this point. Florida's leading scorer is Huberdeau, 9 goals, 29 assists. Hoffman, 15 goals, 16 assists. Barkov, 14 goals, 17 assists. Dadonov, 14 goals, 16 assists. Yandel, 5 goals, 24 assists. Trocheck, 3 goals, 11 assists. Ekblad, 7 goals, 6 assists for him. Matheson, 2 goals, 11 assists. Vetrano, 8 goals, 3 assists. McCann, 5 goals, 6 assists. Buffalo side of things, Eichel, 14 goals, 31 assists. Skinner, 24 goals now and 11 assists. So he is on pace for over 50 goals. Crazy. Reinhart, 8 goals, 24 assists. Again, I always say this quietly. 32 points in 35 games. Reinhart's having a pretty good season. Ristolainen, 3 goals, 18 assists. Dahlin is now up to 19 points, and 3 of those are goals. He's coming on. Pominville, 9 goals, 9 assists. Don't give Pettersson the Calder just yet. Dahlin may have something to say about it. Okposo, 5 goals, 10 assists. Sherry, 6 goals, 7 assists. Middlestad, 5 goals, 5 assists. And I threw McCabe up there with 2 goals, 8 assists. But Rodriguez also has that total. Goaltenders. Reimer. Sure, why not Reimer? They'll probably go with Luongo, but go with Reimer. I don't know. 6-5-1, 3.02 goals against, 903 save percentage for Luongo. For Reimer, 5-7-3, 3.47 goals against, 889 save percentage. Luongo played the last game, which was the win over Toronto. Maybe you give Reimer a start here. I don't know. Olmark is 7-1-3 with a 2.94 goals against, 915 save percentage. Hutton, 13-8-2, 2.54 goals against, 919 save percentage. I would expect Hutton in this game. And I kind of think it favors Buffalo. Last 10, Florida's 4-4-2. They won their last game. The Buffalo Sabres 4-3-3, and they won their last game. On the road, Florida's 5-8-2, and at home, Buffalo's 11-3-2, which is why I'm giving the edge to Buffalo. Versus the East, Florida's 10-7-5 versus the East. The Buffalo Sabres are 10-5-4. So both of them have 10 wins against the East. It's how they get about it, how many they've played altogether. And in Florida's case, it's 22. And in Buffalo's case, it's 19. Eichel's been on an incredible tear. And it is amazing how many superstar players we have right now in the league. Guys that you can look at as a fan and say, this guy's a genuine megastar in the making. This guy's awesome. He's amazing. He should be up for awards. This year's awards season is going to be very, very hotly contested. Whether it's the Hart, whether it's, I think we'll see the Selke hotly contested. I think there's a lot of guys that you could argue are the best defensive forward in the league. It is going to be quite the season, especially with Bergeron missing so much time and Bergeron kind of probably ending up out of the running because of the amount of time he's missed. We could see this be the year that Barkov ends up getting that award. But it's not going to be an easy slog for him. All right, that being said, we're going to move on to Anaheim and the Rangers. So the Ducks coming off their win tonight against the Penguins. No rest for the weary or the wicked. 19-11-5 Anaheim goes in against the 14-13-5 New York Rangers. Leading scorer for Anaheim, Getzlaf, 9 goals, 19 assists. Henrique's next at 7 goals, 13 assists. Raquel, 5 goals, 15 assists. Montour, 5 goals, 14 assists. Aberg, 10 goals, 8 assists. Kashe now has 9 goals, 6 assists for Anaheim. Silverberg, 9 goals, 6 assists. Lindholm, 4 goals, 11 assists. Ritchie, 4 goals, 8 assists. And Fowler, still on the board, 3 goals, 7 assists. On the Rangers side of things, Zibanejad, 11 goals, 18 assists. Hayes, 8 goals, 18 assists. Kreider, 15 goals and 8 assists. VC, 9 goals, 8 assists. Pionk, 4 goals, 13 assists. Howden, 4 goals, 9 assists. Zuccarello, 3 goals, 9 assists. Buchnevich, 6 goals, 5 assists. Hedel, still on the board, 5 goals, 6 assists. And Jesper Fast, 3 goals, 8 assists. Nemesnikov has that total as well. Goaltenders, Gibson played tonight. Do they try Johnson tomorrow night? That'll be interesting. Gibson's 15-9-4, 2.52 goals against, 927 save percentage. Ryan Miller, who's injured, 4-2-1, 2.71 goals against, 922 save percentage. Yeah, I know he's injured. I haven't been putting injured guys on the board. but it's Ryan Miller. And I'm hoping for a speedy recovery, and I don't want to drop him off the board just yet. Lundqvist, I expect in this game 10-9-5, 2.87 goals against, 914 save percentage. Georgiev 4-4, 3.37 goals against, 899 save percentage. And of course, Georgiev is the backup. They keep sending him down to the American League so that he can get in game action and then bring him right back up. So that's why I don't report on any of that, because I don't think that's really important unless they keep him down. Over their last 10, Anaheim's 9-1. They've won 4 in a row. The Rangers are 2-5-3. They've lost 3 in a row. And if it wasn't for bad luck, the Rangers wouldn't have any at all right now. On the road, Anaheim's now 9-7. Good road record. At home, the Rangers are 8-5-3, which seems low. Yeah, I've been doing these previews so much that I knew that was the wrong record. They're 10-4-3 at home. I knew that was the wrong record as soon as I looked at it. Anaheim is 10-3-2 versus the East. The Rangers are 6-5-3 versus the West. I do like what the Ducks have had going on, but when you see 4 wins in a row here, 3 losses in a row here, I expect a flip of the script. I expect the Rangers to come out and win this one tomorrow night. That's usually the way it works. Long losing streak, long winning streak, the two teams meet, and it'll usually switch up. It is very difficult to keep the wins coming in this league where there really is so much parity. Every franchise feels that they still have a chance to be in this, and that's why I try to be as diplomatic as possible, even with teams that I think clearly aren't going to make it. Next up, Detroit and Philly. Oh, that's a bad segue. Yeah, I'll leave it in there. Detroit is 14-15-5. Philadelphia is 12-15-4. The Flyers have made the move behind the bench, and Anaheim. I'm looking over here. Detroit, of course, still has Jeff Blashill, so I'm sure there are Detroit fans saying, "Okay, now our guy's next." I don't think he's going anywhere because I don't think the expectation was that Detroit was going to be in the playoffs this year. Leading the way for Detroit in scorers, Larkin, of course, 14 goals, 18 assists. Nyquist, 9 goals, 21 assists. Athanasiou, 11 goals, 9 assists. Nielsen, 5 goals, 15 assists. Bertuzzi, 9 goals, 9 assists. Green, 3 goals, 13 assists. Mantha, 9 goals, 5 assists. Vanek, 4 goals, 10 assists for him. Cholowski, 5 goals, 8 assists. And Glendening's on the board with 5 goals and 6 assists. On the Philadelphia side of things, Giroux, 11 goals, 28 assists. Voracek, 8 goals, 17 assists. Couturier, 13 goals and 11 assists. And those 3 guys need to be the leadership group of this team. They need to really grab it by its bootstraps and pull them up. And they need to make sure everybody's playing well. And it's going to be on them. Konechny, 9 goals, 10 assists. Simmons, 10 goals, 4 assists. Goes to spare. I know it's Goss to spare, but as soon as I'm looking at it on the board, I do it every time. Goss to spare. See? Easy. Goss to spare. And then I look at it. That's not what it says. It says Goss to be here. No, it's Goss to spare. 3 goals, 10 assists for him. Lawton, 7 goals, 5 assists. Lindblom, 4 goals, 7 assists. Haig and Provorov both have 3 goals and 8 assists for the Flyers. Goaltending, this is where it gets interesting. Howard is 10-7-4, 2.69 goals against, 922 save percentage. I kind of expect him, and yet Bernier seems to be playing a lot lately. Bernier 4-8-1, 3.59 goals against, 890 save percentage. Lyon is 0-1 with a 5.08 goals against, 806 save percentage. Neuwirth, who I believe is off with his wife's expecting a baby, 0-2, 6.17 goals against, 6-7-19 save percentage. And Carter Hart, with a question mark, because are they really going to do this? Now, there's some Flyers fans who say, well, it's good. We'll give Hart the shot. My answer to that is this. Hart right now has a save percentage at the American League level of .901. If you bring him into a situation like this where potentially he gets shelled, you can set him back in his development. And he's young, may turn out just fine, but I've never liked seeing a young goaltender brought in before he's ready. So it is a criminal thing that we're seeing with the Flyers goaltending. And it's sort of like Vegas's from last year, just without the feel-good story that went along with it. Over their last 10, Detroit's 4-4-2. They've lost 3 in a row. Philadelphia's 3-5-2. They've lost 4 in a row. So somebody has to get a win in this one. This is that. Somebody's got a win game. On the road, Detroit's 6-7-2. Philadelphia's 5-7-2 at home. which is not a great record either. So again, somebody's got to win this. Versus the East, Detroit's 9-11-4 versus the East, Philadelphia's 6-8-2. Your pick is as good as mine on this one. I don't like the... I don't know. I like Detroit in this just because to me it looks like Philadelphia is absolutely at bottom, and I don't think they're ready to come out of it yet. That's just my opinion, but that's how it looks to me. Okay, next up, Nashville. Nashville's 22-10-2. Coming off of an overtime loss tonight against the Ottawa Senators. They're going to be in against the Hawks, who are 10-19-6. And, of course, the Hawks suffering from the loss of Corey Crawford, and we're debating on how long that's going to last. With all of us hoping that his health is what's put at the fore at this point, and the hockey thing just isn't really that important compared to his health. His health's most important. On the Nashville side, their top scorers, Johansson, 5 goals, 24 assists. Yossi, 7 goals, 19 assists. Forsberg, 14 goals, 8 assists. Ekholm, 3 goals, 18 assists. Smith, 10 goals, 7 assists. Turris, 5 goals, 12 assists. Sissons, 7 goals, 9 assists. Fiala, 5 goals, 11 assists. Ellis, 3 goals, 12 assists. And Arvidsson, 8 goals, 5 assists, rounds out your top 10. On the Chicago side, Kane, 15 goals, 23 assists. Taves, 16 goals, 14 assists. DeBrincat, 14 goals, 12 assists. Saad, 9 goals, 11 assists. Keith now has 16 assists, still seeking that elusive first goal of the season. Gustafsson, 6 goals, 9 assists. Anisimov, 6 goals, 9 assists. Seabrook, 4 goals, 11 assists. Cahoon, 4 goals, 9 assists. And there's Dylan Strome with 8 goals and 4 assists. So, on the upside for Chicago, Strome is scoring. His defensive game still appears to be kind of a work in progress, but he's getting goals. So, there's a benefit there. On the goaltending side of things, Rene now sits with a 14-5-1 record, 2.07 goals against, 925 save percentage. I expect Saros in this one. Saros is 8-5-1, 3.05 goals against, 894 save percentage. Cam Ward should be the starter for Chicago. He's 4-5-4, 4.17 goals against, 883 save percentage. That would make Chris D'Elia the backup. They called him up on an emergency basis today. I expect them to go out and get somebody. I'd be very surprised if Chicago doesn't go out and get somebody, because I don't think the expectation is for Crawford to be back anytime soon. Over their last 10, Nashville's 5-4-1. They lost their last game. Chicago's 1-8-1. They've lost their last 2. And I've seen a lot of Chicago fans saying now's the time to go get Bobrovsky, try to trade for Bobrovsky. The problem is, and I've said this before, if Columbus decides to trade Bobrovsky, you have to get a goaltender back. Columbus is in a playoff spot right now. They want to stay there. Korpisalo's never proven himself as a starter. His numbers aren't great. So you have to get a goaltender back in the deal. One thing that Chicago doesn't have to spare. Don't say Scott Foster. Stop it. On the road, Nashville's 8-5-2. I told you not to say Scott Foster. Chicago is 6-7-4 at home. Those numbers favor Nashville, as does the fact that they should be kind of ornery coming off of a loss to Ottawa. The Nashville Predators are 12-10-1 against the West. They're not as good against the West as they're against the East. Versus the West, Chicago's an abysmal 5-13-4. So they've won 5 out of 22 games against the West, which is just absolutely... This is worst case scenario all across the board right now for the Chicago Blackhawks. And we'll see if it gets any better with a game against a rival like Nashville tomorrow night. So let me know your thoughts, picks, whatnot, all that other fun stuff. Let me know whatever thoughts you got in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you browse your way through. You just happen upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.